welcome to the Charlie West Wrestling Show. Today we are going to be looking at our top 10 most hated wrestlers of all time.
Woo!
So, won't just be right now, but of all time. Now, I know for me, I have taken personal opinions of the wrestler's personal life. So, for example, someone like, say, a Jimmy Snuka, who has a
checkered past,
a darker side.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put him on my list because of what he did in his private life. Mm-hmm. This is purely about the wrestler that I saw on screen and how much I hated having to see that wrestler on screen. Did you go the same way?
Yeah, but then some of it is I just hate them for even just the way they are behind the scenes too.
And that can be, yes, definitely.
Sometimes if you hate someone, you hate someone.
Yeah.
But it's wrestlers though. We're not doing non-wrestlers. So they have to be or had been an actual pro wrestler.
Yes, and you will find that many times there'll be different caveats that might exist and sort of bending of the rules.
Yeah.
But within the spirit of the rule, I think we're ready to start,
It's
right?
the Charlie West show. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I can say fuck too. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely, as long as the nice people at YouTube don't find out. Anyhow, so let's go with number 10. So what we're going to do is I will say my number 10, then we'll talk about that, then Ozzy will go on to his number 10. If it turns out that my number 10 is Ozzy's number 4, he won't let me know that right now.
Yeah.
Maybe just later in the list he'll say, oh, now I am going to be doubling up with what you said before. I agree with you, except, you just don't have as good of an opinion as I do.
Right.
So do you want to hear my number 10?
I'd love to.
Right, so my number 10 is, I'm going to admit, my number 10 is very much a kayfabe choice.
Okay.
It is like one of my, if not my absolute favourite wrestler of all time was the Macho Man.
Okay.
And when
Can't disagree with that.
Yeah, and when I was growing up, the Macho Man was the guy. And I would watch the old wrestling shows, the old pay-per-views. I would see the Macho Man fighting against all these people. And then one day I rented WrestleMania 7. And the Macho Man's career was ended.
In wrestling.
Yes, but...
Which means it's not really over.
But for 10-year-old me, that was... This guy's just ended the Macho Man's career.
Oh.
The Ultimate Warrior. That's my number 10. Hated him.
The Ultimate Warrior is your number 10 most hated wrestler.
Yeah, my Ultimate Warrior, because I just hated this guy that ended my guy's career. I hated that. I just wanted him to lose. I wanted the Macho Man.
I was pretty upset when I was sitting in the Sky Dome in Toronto at WrestleMania 6 and he beat Hulk Hogan. I was pretty upset about that. It was always hard for me, face versus face matches, because I'm a heel. I like heels. So, yeah, the Warrior pissed me off there, but when his music hit and you were in that crowd, it was hard to hate him.
I can get that, and I probably was a slightly different child in that I was the one going, Macho King, you're the guy, hit them with that stick.
I can see you doing that.
Yeah, but that was the thing for me, the Ultimate Warrior. I must admit, for me, I found it quite difficult to actually find 10 wrestlers that I purely hated for them as wrestlers.
I have too many.
I
have a lot.
Yeah, you probably have an encyclopedia.
Yeah, I do.
But I found it, so my number 10, my number 9 are much more kayfabe child me hated this guy.
Well, I can see that. All right, my number 10. I am going to go, maybe against the grain here, the Mountie.
But that's a good, honest Canadian guy.
But I also fucking hated the Rougeau brothers, and he's Jacques Rougeau, and he is such an asshole. I hate his face. I was so upset when he did that angle where they threw the water on Bret Hart, and then he shocked him with the stick.
Right.
Remember that? I was so mad about that. And the reason they did that, actually, was Bret was thinking of going to WCW. And they wanted to get the IC belt off him just in case he went to WCW. And he ended up not doing it.
Oh, so that was...
Yeah, that's why they put it on the Mountie. Then they put it on Piper. And then Bret got it back at WrestleMania 8 when he decided to stay with Vince.
Wow. But, I mean, at least the theme tune's cool, though, right?
I hated the Mountie. I hated that. It was an insult to Canadians. And Jacques Rougeau is such an asshole. But he actually pinned Hulk Hogan at a house show in Quebec.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah, it's like one of the few people that, like, someone that's pinned Hulk Hogan. Like, that happened in Spain as well, I think, with another wrestler.
I'm not sure. I just know that Jacques Rougeau pinned him in Quebec. And Jacques Rougeau is an asshole. He was an asshole with the Rougeau brothers. I hated the Rougeau brothers. I hated the Mountie. Jacques Rougeau, number 10.
Fair enough. So, number 9?
Let's do it.
Right, so number 9. This is my last kayfabe child me hated this guy. So I said about how much The Ultimate Warrior, like ending the career of Macho Man, upset me. One of my other wrestlers that I really loved as a kid was Tatanka. And when I started watching wrestling, Tatanka never lost.
Yeah, he was good when he came in, wasn't he?
He never lost.
I liked his music when I was a kid too.
Yeah, he did that. He had the whole headdress thing. I know, speaking now, that's maybe less...
Cultural appropriation. Yeah. But if that guy wasn't Native American, I don't know who it was.
9-year-old, 10-year-old British me just saw a guy with a cool headdress doing a fun dance, and when you banged his head on the corner, he
would dance, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd just do the war dance. It was fantastic. And then one day, this new random big bloke turned up, destroyed him in 7 seconds, pinned him with one finger.
Who was that?
Ludwig Borger.
Ah, the Finnish Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. So I hated Ludwig Borger.
Yeah, we should put him on the list.
He's on my list. Ludwig Borger, number 9.
Ludwig Borga's number 9.
Yeah.
Ah, what a dickhead. Yeah, I hate him too.
Yeah.
Good one. I like that one. Good one.
He destroyed Tatanka. And Tatanka was... And thinking back now, Tatanka was done after that.
Yeah.
Like, he joined Ted DiBiase's corporation.
Yeah, it was the little... My black spot in wrestling where I didn't really watch a lot of wrestling.
Right. That was the end of Tatanka. Tatanka went from beating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, albeit by countout, to getting obliterated by some Finnish robot.
They were pushing him, man. He's a dickhead. Good. I like that one. That's a good one. Okay, my number 9, I will go with the Great Khali. And I don't think there's too much to say here. He was one of the worst wrestlers of all time. Just an utter piece of shit. The Great Khali. He never should have been a pro wrestler. He was dangerous in the ring, horrible, didn't draw a dime. His title run was he's probably the worst champion of all time.
I can say that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Great Khali is a good wrestler, or even that he is a below average wrestler. He is a terrible wrestler. He's
a complete dickhead.
He had no mic skills.
Yeah, no redeeming qualities. He sucks. Probably should be higher on the list, but there's other people I would like to rip on more.
I can understand that. I will say that him becoming champion was more the circumstance that everyone just got injured. Yeah. So it became like him or Kane. I mean, the answer is Kane, but yes.
And they had Batista at the time.
Look,
they had guys
Batista got injured. Batista and Edge and Taker all got injured.
There had to be someone better than that idiot.
But yeah, I understand. Great Khali was not the brightest moment.
No, I hate him. He's my number 9.
Right. Number 8. So this is my only tag team.
Okay.
And it's a tag team that they probably... Maybe there's an argument that like they were good at a point in the 80s. But just when I started to see them was when they just started embracing the whole being fat assholes that can't wrestle.
Is it the Nasty Boys?
The Nasty Boys.
I hate the blonde one. That's Brian Knobbs?
Right.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. But I kind of like their entrance and their gear. But they are assholes.
Yeah. It's like and I think that's the thing. It's like if they had that gimmick but could actually wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, be more like... Because then it'd be more like having just 2 Kevin Owens, like, going in there. Like, being a bit of a prick, being a bit of an asshole. But, like, they go in the ring. They couldn't go in the ring.
Yeah.
They were awful.
Their faces were really annoying.
And the thing that really nailed into me that I didn't like them was when Hulk Hogan had his first episode on TNA.
Okay.
The Nasty Boys rocked up in that.
Because they're boys with Hogan.
Yeah.
That's why they always went everywhere Hogan went.
And that was when I was just like, like, you got Nasty Boys, Bubba the Love Sponge, who, if it wasn't for the fact he's not a wrestler...
Yeah.
Would also be here. The Nasty Boys, I think they're the worst tag team that were massively pushed as a tag team.
I went to a house show in the Maple Leaf Gardens. It was the Boxing Day show. I got the tickets for Christmas, and they would always announce who's coming at the next show in Toronto. And I remember them saying, "And the Nasty Boys will be debuting in Toronto," and it got this reaction in the crowd, and I didn't know who they were. So I was kind of excited to see the Nasty Boys because of that. That show wasn't very good, but I remember I got to see Mr. Perfect and Roddy Piper in a match. So it was a good show.
They're not on my list.
Oh, of course. No. I would walk out of this fucking show if you put either of them on the list. If we do our top 10 favorite wrestlers, both of them will be on mine.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, number 8?
Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is
the Nasty Boys. Okay, well then I'll go for a tag team on this one, and this is more modern. Private Party on AEW.
Right.
I fucking hate those guys. I think they suck. I hate how they always scream when they take bumps. I hate those guys. I think they're shit. Their moves look awful. I hate them. I don't like them.
Yeah, I do not. I do not disagree there. I have opinions on the AEW tag team scene.
And those guys make it much, much worse.
Yes, and they dragged Matt Hardy down to their level recently, right? Didn't that become a big thing? Like, weren't they the ones with Matt Hardy?
Yeah.
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 I'm happy to agree with you.
They suck.
Party. Yeah.
They suck.
Okay, move on.
Okay.
Number 7. I'm also going to AEW now.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay.
And to be honest, if it wasn't for that this guy doesn't amount to anything, he'd be so much higher. Like, if this guy was being pushed and winning titles, he'd probably be like number 2.
Okay.
But it's Marco Stunt.
I had him as an honorable mention because he's gone. I want to think that he's not even a wrestler. I totally agree with you. I fucking hate him.
Like, Marco Stunt, I think, has put back the movement that small guys can wrestle well, like, 10 years. Like, you had people like Rey Mysterio that were like, being like, even though they're like this high, when you put them against like a Big Show or Brock Lesnar, you can be like, he's doing moves, he's doing things where like he is taking down the giant.
Marco Stunt's an embarrassment to the business.
Marco Stunt, his moves look like if he did them to me, I would just stand there and be like, what are you doing?
Right, and people don't know, Charlie actually made his in-ring debut last month.
I main evented.
You main evented a Royal Rumble, Phoenix Rumble in Korea, and I gave you that position, so you should still be thanking me for that.
I'm very thankful to everyone who was responsible for giving me that position.
Right, and it was me. And you lasted all of maybe like 20 seconds.
Hey, lasting 20 seconds is good for me.
Yeah, I've heard.
Moving
Moving on.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yes. It's your turn, number 7. I just did Marco Stunt.
You just did Marco Stunt. That was a really good one. Okay, I am going to stay in AEW for the time being and pick Matt Hardy. I hate Matt Hardy. I've never liked Matt Hardy.
This is Matt Hardy from career to career, not AEW.
I don't like him. I don't like Matt Hardy. I've never liked Matt Hardy. I just hate his face. I hate Matt Hardy. I don't like him. I've never, even when I liked the Hardy Boys back in the day, Matt Hardy was the loser. Like, I liked when he took big bumps and got beat up. Like at that ladder match when Edge and Christian chucked him off the ladder. The house I was watching that, and we were all laughing our asses off. And I hate that broken, woken gimmick. I hate that. I hate Matt Hardy. I don't like him.
I can, you know what? Like, I don't hate him to that level.
Yeah. But
definitely, the Hardy Boys was, if Jeff had any brother, you'd still be into the Hardy Boys.
I love that gimmick when Edge took his girlfriend and Edge started banging Lita, and then they made it a storyline and Edge just dusted him. I love that.
Oh yeah, when he came back after he got fired and then just got murdered.
Yeah, he came back with like a good promo, but it was terrible. Matt Hardy will never die. Shut up! Everyone wants to see you die. And then he went to AEW and he's trying to do that.
Well, he's one of those people that has a lot of creativity. Whether it's good creativity or bad creativity,
I'll
he
give
has
him
a lot of
that.
ideas.
Give him that.
And TNA especially, and AEW to an extent, they let him use that creativity. They let him make his own ideas.
Yeah.
And I will agree that some of those ideas are best left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. I'm not a Matt Hardy fan. I don't like anything he's ever done.
That's fair enough. I think definitely...
except getting beat up. I like seeing him get beat up.
I think definitely when you have the TLC matches, like the big classic TLCs, he's the 6th most exciting guy in those matches.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand that. I wouldn't be on my top 10.
Okay.
But I'm not outraged.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Number 6, I think, is another slam dunk. In that I think if he's not on your list, it's just because you forgot that this abomination happened while you were making your list.
Oh shit.
Bastian Booger.
Oh God, does he even count? Like, how is that guy? Like, they must have just found him like eating out of a dumpster behind a Waffle House, and they're like, "Oh, this guy should be a wrestler."
It was horrific. Like, if you've never heard of Bastian Booger, just accept you don't know Bastian Booger. Like don't look him up.
Don't look him up. Look him up. He has a gunt.
It's disgusting. Like, they deliberately make him look like the biggest, most slovenly slob.
I don't think they had to try very hard to make him.
But
wasn't his gimmick like he ate trash and stuff?
He ate stuff. He had a singlet that wasn't washed and was stained. His finishing maneuver was to stand over someone's face, do a little gyration, and then jump so that his knees and his crotch went into your face.
Don't you pay women in Korea to do that? Do you?
Slightly less heavy than Bastian.
Okay, well, fair enough.
But no, it was just
just as dirty though.
maybe.
Yeah.
But no, he's a disgusting wrestler. Like, it's possible the guy was good. Like, it's possible. Like, sometimes
he could work,
but,
right? Like, maybe.
But the gimmick was essentially like there was one Royal Rumble where he was meant to be in it, and they just the number came up. Just nothing happened. He never came out.
He was probably taking a shit or something, and they're like, okay, you were going to last 5 seconds anyways. You're done.
But I think Bastion Booger, one of the worst gimmicks ever.
One of the worst people ever to be in wrestling. I agree with that. You're right. He might have crossed my mind, but I didn't even give him the dignity to write his name down. Asshole.
That's fair enough. Number 6.
Ooh, we're already getting to number 6, so I'm going to have to pick carefully here, because there's a lot of assholes on this list that I do want to mention. I'm going to have to go with Johnny Ace.
Oh, John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, he was a horrible wrestler too. Just an utter fucking asshole. And he's a fucking asshole behind the scenes too. And
yeah, I mean, right now he is single-handedly trying to undo women's wrestling in WWE.
And he was a horrible wrestler too. You watch those old WCW shows, he came out and like threw a frisbee. He couldn't work. Just a dickhead. Don't like him. Hate him. Sucks as a wrestler, sucks as a behind-the-scenes guy. Shouldn't be in wrestling.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure anyone who actually knows him and works in wrestling would be like, yeah, he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
I think the only people that say nice things about him are the ones whose jobs depend on it.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, number 5. This is my one and only female wrestler on the list.
Okay.
It's someone that I gave so much time for. I was always going to be like, look, if they try, if they keep trying, if they keep working, you know, there's potential here, there's potential, and then they just never seem to be trying to get better.
Okay.
And it was Nia Jax.
Okay.
That, like, you know, it was one of those things, like, because obviously there's this thing of, like, you know, she's a heavyweight woman, especially in a division that's famous for not having to deal with heavyweights. Like, WWE doesn't employ larger women, so therefore women are mostly wrestling against small people, so they have to
be safe and be careful.
Like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to deal with someone who is... But Nia Jax just wasn't safe and wasn't careful.
Yeah.
And every time she went away for a bit, you're like, this is her chance. This is her chance to, like, you know, really buckle down, get better, like, not lose weight, that's not important, but, like, just actually get better at wrestling, get better at being safe.
Being related to The Rock helped her keep the job probably longer than she deserved.
And it's disgusting. And I think that has been doubly highlighted right now, that you've got, what's her name now? Doudrop, Piper Niven. But she works.
Yeah.
She can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, she's not someone that you're going to put on a swimsuit calendar.
Right.
But she can really go, and that's what that's what we're looking for.
I call her Miss Vader.
Yeah, and she has that, and like when you see that, like if she can go and she can really do, she's been doing this less time than Nia Jax has, at least at the WWE level.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for Nia Jax being as bad at wrestling as she is.
She's terrible. Good. I agree with you. Awful, but I don't hate her as much as the other people on this list. I hate them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Okay. So this is my number 5. Okay, top 5. Now we're getting down to it. I am going to put... This is hard because I hate all these guys a lot. I'm going to go with Hardcore Holly here.
Okay.
Hardcore Holly is
Sparky plug.
Such a fucking asshole. I hate his fucking face. And he was a shit... Like, yeah, he was not like a bad wrestler, right? But he was not a star. He was never going to be a star. And he was like one of these wrestlers that like thinks they're so tough. You know, they'd always do interviews like, oh, I could kick everyone's ass. And like he's just thought he was a tough guy.
He was the guy that had the whole like, I can fix wrestling, right? Just put the belt on me and I'll beat everybody all year. Like that was his idea to...
If anyone ever did that, they should be out of wrestling. Like when Brock dropped him on his head, I was like, good, this is why I like Brock Lesnar so much. He's getting rid of all the idiots. Yeah. Hardcore Holly, fucking idiot. Hate him.
He definitely was not in any way exciting to watch.
No.
As a wrestler. Like he was very sort of... He was a poor man's Lance Storm.
Yeah, I guess you could see it that way.
Lance Storm didn't really have charisma.
Yeah, but he could work.
Yes, and he was charismatic compared to Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, and Hardcore Holly was just an asshole. Hate him. He's easily... It was, you know, the fact that he's 5, I think he should be higher on this list, but these other guys, these other guys annoy me just a little bit more.
Fair enough. So we're back down to 4.
Yeah, we're at 4.
And I think of my 4, I think there's 2 that I think are still slam dunks.
Okay.
There's one that I think will be a very me answer.
Okay.
And then there's this one, which I think is the last time that you potentially might get upset, but I hope you're not, because I hope you Because this guy...
You hope I hate this guy too.
Yeah, I hope you hate this guy too. And I will say that I never really watched this guy when he was doing his main run at the main company he started with. So I only really saw him during his WWE time. But he was abysmal the whole time, and I couldn't stand it. And it was the Sandman.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it just felt like someone's trying to be Steve Austin and only taking on the worst parts of Steve Austin's character and doing it 1,000 times worse.
He was doing that. He was doing all that stuff in ECW, drinking the beer and smoking. He would come down smoking cigarettes. But like a lot of ECW fans at the time, when Austin started drinking beer, was like, "You're ripping off the Sandman."
Right.
And like, I'll watch old ECW stuff, and yeah, he's not that good. But his entrance when he like enters Sandman hit, it would have been incredible. Like I think a lot of ECW, you had to be there and be feeling it, and then like I think that's how like. The honorable mention, I had the Blue Meanie. I'm not going to put him on the list. Like, what a fucking idiot. But how was he over? And remember that tag team Public Enemy? They're another honorable mention that I had on this list. Absolute dickheads that couldn't work and were unsafe, but somehow they got over in ECW, and then they got picked up by Public Enemy, WCW. Somehow Blue Meanie went to WWF.
And I think that was the thing. Like, so many of these people that were part of this, like, outlaw backyard ECW, but you look back now and it's like those people were... Eddie Guerrero and Stone Cold Steve Austin was there for a while, like Cactus Jack, like Rob Van Dam, Taz. Like
there was a lot of good guys that came.
It turned out that you could take the ECW out of them and still end up with a really good wrestler.
But some guys though, like you know, like Eddie Guerrero, Malenko, those guys, they just came over and worked matches. They weren't doing garbage matches.
Yeah.
Like only certain guys who had to do the garbage matches, like Balls Mahoney and. You know, they had to do that to be on the show.
And that's the thing for me. The Sandman just looked at someone who was like, this guy can't even do a standard match. This guy can't do it below
No, he
match.
could.
Like,
of course not. He couldn't do a pro wrestling match.
It's like, take someone, again, if he was worth more of a damn in wrestling, someone like Nick Gage.
Okay.
Same sort of deal, that like Nick Gage has one match.
Yeah, it's a Nick Gage match.
Yes.
And it's not pro wrestling.
And you can't take Nick Gage, put him in WWE and say...
Put him in a pair of trunks and say, hey,
we want you to wrestle Seth Rollins for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking for glass tubes.
Yeah, it'd be horrible.
Yeah. And Sandman's like that to me. Just more high profile.
Yeah, I don't hate that one. He's an idiot. Okay, now I'm getting down to the nitty gritty here. I am going to put... this is hard. I'm going to put... Where am I at? Am I number 4?
Number 4.
Okay, I'm going to go with The Miz.
Okay.
It's hard that he's not higher. I absolutely have always... hated The Miz. Like, people say, oh, he's a great heel. I don't think I don't want to watch him. I hate when he does those kicks. I hate the way he works. I hate his face. I hate him and his wife. I hate The Miz so much. I despise The Miz.
See, I mean...
not in a good way.
Clearly. I mean, for the first time, I think on this list, we have a situation where I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah? What?
Yeah.
You like The Miz?
I think The Miz is fantastic.
Ugh.
I think The Miz...
Mark.
No, I think he just does everything like he's like a poster child for what happens if you really just keep working hard. Like the fact that he was... But the stuff that he can do, the stuff that he can do off the cuff, his promos are fantastic.
He's good on the stick, but I just don't want to hear him talk. And he's been doing that shtick for so long. Nah, hate him. Okay. Asshole.
It's fair enough. I mean, I get that he's not a wrestling fan's wrestler in that sort of like, I like wrestling. I think that the best thing ever is Chris Benoit just going, I don't have any personality and neither do my matches, but I'm really good at all the moves, so please love me.
Did you say that Chris Benoit had no personality?
Chris Benoit was a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, he wasn't a good person, obviously.
No, but he also wasn't... You couldn't create a storyline around Chris Benoit. You couldn't...
Well, Kevin Sullivan tried, and it kind of worked. Yeah.
But...
That didn't work out good for anybody.
I mean, I'm being very over the top in what I mean, but what I mean is that in the same way that Chris Benoit is a fantastic wrestler, can do all the moves, do a fantastic match with anybody, but give him a microphone and say, please do a promo. Nah, I wouldn't like to do that. Give him a segment and go do a skit. Nah.
When he cut promos from the heart, he was good. And that's the thing. When Benoit did any good promos, it was because he was just speaking from the heart. Miz is a fucking actor. And he's a dickhead. and he sucks in the ring, and his matches suck, and that WrestleMania he main evented was one of the worst WrestleManias. If we do the worst WrestleManias of all time, that Mania, whatever it was, I think 27 will probably be my number one. I hate that Mania. And I hate The Miz. He's a fucking asshole. I can't wait till he's out of wrestling.
You might have a long time to wait.
Ugh.
Okay.
Dickhead.
Fair enough.
We're getting down with top 3 now.
Top 3. Okay. I think this is my last one, or it's just like they're just playing really bad at wrestling.
Okay.
And when I say really bad at wrestling, possibly the worst wrestler to ever wrestle at WrestleMania, who was there as a wrestler.
Okay.
And there was a healthy wrestler. Like, take away your Bret Hart when he literally can't move anymore, or your different, like, well, it's like a person that was there to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
The worst wrestler to ever wrestle at WrestleMania as a wrestler. Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, God, I should have put him on. Yeah, brutal. What a dickhead.
Like,
man.
if you want to talk about, like, you have Great Khali earlier.
Yeah.
Great Khali is Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, and Kurt Angle melded into one.
They're the same
into
guy.
a super
They're
wrestler.
the same guy.
Great Khali could run circles around Giant Gonzalez.
I don't think we want to see either of those dickheads run.
And not in the same match.
Oh, God.
That would be one hell of a match.
That'd be
right?
terrible, yeah.
And almost would be the second coming of Bret Hart at that point. Like, just...
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Giant Gonzalez is an utter dickhead.
I watched this match against Taker.
Oh, and they
just
did the
chloroform and stuff. It's an embarrassment.
Like, how close they were to ruining the streak.
Like, right then. Could you imagine? Like, if they knew ahead of time what Taker was going to be at Mania, like...
That's a cool entrance. He comes out, he has like a vulture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giant Gonzalez, asshole. Okay, my top 3 now. This is hard to fit them all in. I am going to go with... the Red Rooster. One of my most hated wrestling gimmicks of all time. When I was a kid,
But that was a rip, right?
Well, Terry Taylor, they brought in.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was going to get... They had the idea for the Mr. Perfect character, and it was between Kurt Hennig or Terry Taylor.
Right.
And they gave it to Mr. Perfect, and they gave Terry Taylor the Red Rooster. But, oh my God, I used to always want the Brooklyn Brawler to beat him. They had like a feud, and I always wanted I liked the Brooklyn Brawler when I was a kid.
He's an underrated wrestler. Like, he could... I mean, the jobbers at that time, they could really go. Like him, Barry Horowitz, Virgil to an extent.
Right.
Like, they could actually...
They could do a match.
Yeah.
Right. And the Red Rooster, though, what a... Yeah, you got to feel for the guy because you're never going to get over that gimmick. But I hated how he'd, like, cluck and stuff. And, you know, I put on an old Saturday Night Main Event a little while ago when he came on, and all that feeling of anger just came back.
Wow.
What an asshole.
And to think there's a parallel universe out there somewhere where that's Kurt Hennig.
Oh, God, that's such a... Wow, imagine that happened.
Yeah. But I think he'd have pulled it off, though, somehow.
No one's pulling off coming out and acting like a rooster. You're not going to pull off acting like a rooster. That's impossible.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, we're in the top 2
Top
here.
2, right. This is it's genuinely my opinion.
Okay.
But it's the one that might seem the most like I'm just trying to get a reaction from modern wrestling fans.
Okay, let's see.
It's the Young Bucks. Because I hate them.
Yeah.
I think they are everything that's wrong with tag team wrestling.
Okay.
They don't care about the rules of tag team wrestling. Their moves are... They have transitional moves that are so dangerous. They shouldn't be transitional moves that happen.
It's annoying when Matt Jackson does like the double Northern Light suplex with 2 guys. There's no way he could do that.
Yeah. Just different moves where I'll see them come off a rope, do 3 somersaults, and miss the guy completely, and the guy has to sell. Like, I have opinions on AEW.
Yeah.
There's stuff in AEW that I think is very good. There's stuff in AEW that I can accept is really good and not for me.
Yeah.
The one thing about AEW that really turned me off is some of the wrestlers that are not doing wrestling matches. They're not doing wrestling matches with stories.
They're doing trampoline matches.
They're doing moves.
Yeah.
And the ones that pissed me off the most were the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Now, the reason why Omega's not on this list is because I know if I really dig down deep and like search into myself to know it to be true, Kenny Omega can put on that wrestling.
You gotta watch his stuff in Japan.
Like
the Young Bucks in Japan, they were like curtain jerkers. They weren't even that great. But
I know that if Kenny Omega went to WWE, WWE would have him doing proper wrestling matches with stories, and he'd probably pull it off because he's a great athlete. And when there's a producer saying, we need you to actually act like this is hurting or act like this is important to you, he'd be able to pull it off.
The problem with those
Young Bucks, not.
The problem with those guys is when they do promos and everything, they're doing like all that like wink wink stuff. Like, yeah, everyone knows we're playing a character, but like this is what we're gonna do to get heat. But I also they've had some good matches. Like the Young Bucks, they're some of those guys. You know, we talked about like, who was it? Like, you know, you got to do a Nick Gage match, you got to do a Sandman match. You kind of have to do a Young Bucks match, right? And they did a wicked match with the Lucha Brothers, who I love the Lucha Bros entrance and everything. Their matches don't make a lot of sense, neither do the Young Bucks, but put them together, it's a train wreck, but it's entertaining. And they had this cage match that was a couple like last year that was awesome.
Right.
But yeah, I can see how they're asshole. I met them though.
Yeah.
I met them in Kyoto, Japan. I went just on a trip there, and New Japan is having a house show. I didn't follow Japanese wrestling at all. I knew AJ Styles was there, and I heard of the Bullet Club, and it was just a house show in this small little venue. So I went there and bought the ticket, and then the wrestlers just start coming in. Like I met this other Canadian guy there, and he met Tanahashi. Right. Tanahashi was going for a jog around there. He's like, I just met Tanahashi. Showed me the picture of him. The Young Bucks, I was standing there. One guy came up, another foreigner came up to me and was like, hey, thanks for coming to the show. I didn't know they were wrestlers. The Young Bucks are my size, but you guys have ponytails. You're probably wrestlers.
Right, yes.
And then the show started, and they were doing like all the suck-its and all that stuff, and it seemed hokey, but yeah. But the best part was Luke Gallows told me to fuck off. In the parking lot, because I didn't know he was like this big heel in Japan, and I was like, hey, what's up, Festus? And he goes, what the fuck, and then walked past me. He's huge though. Right. He's massive. So yeah, I if I was gonna piss someone off, I'd rather piss off the Young Bucks because they ain't scaring anybody.
Yeah. No, very much so. But yeah, I just I tried. I spent months watching AEW, and the thing I realized was that if they took the Elite out of AEW, I would probably maybe some sort of another company with all wrestling as two of its things would probably be better. But you know, it's the Young Bucks. Hate them so much. I've lost my trail of thought because all the bile is coming to the front.
Yeah, they're annoying. I have better shoes than them, so let's move on.
Yeah,
okay,
your number 2.
My number 2. I'm gonna go with. This is a toss-up. I could go 1-2 here with either of these guys. I'm gonna go with Disco Inferno.
Okay.
What a fucking asshole. As a wrestler, oh my god, I hated him. I couldn't watch it when I would, watch Nitro. Oh, I just couldn't watch that guy. His face, and now he's got a podcast with Conan. He's still such a dickhead. Oh god, I fucking hate the Disco Inferno. I hate listening to his show sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
So even his takes as a non-wrestler, even as his takes as now a non-wrestler.
Yeah. Usually I don't agree with him, and I think he's a. Oh God! Like, why do I care what that guy thinks? I don't know. Yeah.
It's the same reason that we still listen to Vince Russo, right? Like the guy hasn't.
Listen to him.
What?
I don't listen to him.
No, but we still. If you hear that Vince Russo has said something, you'll give it a read. You'll see what it is. Yeah, you'll be like, this is nonsense. Like the past 455 things he said.
When you read it, does it say "bro" like 17 times in one sentence?
I think if it's done verbatim, it would be.
Yeah. Well, he's an asshole too. If we did non-wrestlers, I think he'd be at the top of most people's list.
He would. Yes.
Yeah. That's just being an asshole. Disco Inferno. What a loser. I don't know how. And he's still making money in the wrestling business, so I guess good for him, but hate him. Everything about him.
Fair enough. I think that's a fair shout. Before number 1, I want to go through. I've got 3 honorable mentions.
Okay.
I'm gonna do them as a lightning round, like not one. Just
okay. Who do you got? I got a couple here.
I've got Sin Cara, specifically Mystico Sin Cara, not when it became the other guy Hunico that took over. Okay. Mystico Sin Cara when he took over.
The first guy that came in.
Yeah, the first guy, Okay. Botched everything. Yeah. Said that he had to X out of a match because he hurt his little finger.
I didn't like the lighting that had his matches.
It was just so much hype. And that much hype for disappointing weird matches in purple lights.
I've forgotten about that guy.
Another one is Angelo Dawkins.
Which one's he?
He is from the. He is not Montez Ford.
Oh, this Street Profits.
From the Street Profits.
He is.
It's not that I. To be honest, it's not that I hate him.
Yeah.
It's more the fact that he is the most Marty Jannetty in a tag team.
Yeah.
Of any tag team, including the Rockers. Like everything about the Street Profits is when this team breaks up, Montez Ford is going to be one of the men in wrestling. He's going to be one of the guys because he's that damn good. And as long as the Street Profits are together, Angelo Dawkins is stopping Montez Ford being a main event guy. And that's why I want him to disappear. Once he's disappeared, Montez Ford will get to be probably one of the most charismatic and fantastic wrestlers in WWE.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
And then the third one's just because he was an idiot with a bunch of people that followed him around, and I really, really hated it every time he had a segment, which was Adam Rose.
Who the hell's that?
He's the guy with the rosebuds.
Oh God! And he had like the guys that came out with him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hated him too.
The only reason he's not in my top 10 is because I have had a bigger effect on wrestling than Adam Rose has.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
All because you had one in-ring match.
I've main evented. Did he main event? No. But no, Adam Rose, like Marco Stunt before, if this guy had won titles and things, he'd be like number 3.
Yeah.
But because he isn't, he's an honorable mention. Those are my honorable mentions.
I totally forgot about him. Some of my honorable mentions, I wish I was able to put some of these guys in because I hate all these guys. The Hurricane. I don't know how I didn't get him in.
Okay.
Shane Helms, just him. I hate him. Christopher Daniels.
Oh, really?
When he because I never really saw him. I didn't watch TNA.
Right.
Didn't know much about him, but when I started watching AEW and the SCU, oh God, I hate that guy. Here's a good one from WCW, Alex Wright. He was the Wonderkind. He was a German guy that just came out in trunks, and I hated it. He had like disco music, and in the 90s, I was a grunge guy, so hearing, Euro beats, hate him. You know who else I hated a lot was Sergeant Slaughter when I was a kid.
Oh.
Not American, but I just hated his promos, hated Sergeant Slaughter, but, he drew money, so I can't really hit on him that much.
You see, I don't hate Sergeant Slaughter because he beat the Ultimate Warrior for the title.
Yeah. Oh, when Savage hit him with the scepter. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, well, those are my honorable mentions. I don't know how I didn't put Jinder Mahal on here.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. Oh God, I missed him. He was awful.
He, I think more just overpushed. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of
shoved down your throat.
There's plenty of lower mid card guys that are at the same level as Jinder Mahal.
And if he stayed there, it's because he got that. It's because he got that.
It's because of that push.
Yeah.
Right. Like if.
And he beat Nakamura. I was mad about that.
Yeah. Like if insert random wrestler that's currently not doing very much suddenly became WWE champion, you would hate him.
And the fact that Jinder Mahal, they tried it, it didn't work, they took it off him, and he's just been a loser since then.
Yeah.
It makes me hate him less. If they were still pushing him, he'd probably be number 1.
Right. I'm really surprised we had no crossovers. I was expecting at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
My number 1 is, I think the one on this list where it is, a lot of it is the personality of who they are as a person.
But might be the same person.
Who they are as a person translates into what they did in wrestling.
Okay.
It's the one wrestler where you watch a match and you're like, I'm not sure if this person's about to kill somebody in the ring because this guy is a fucking psychopath and shouldn't be allowed in the wrestling ring. New Jack.
Oh, yeah, and I've watched some of those awful... Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah. He's to be the one person who's like, please go away. It's like, if I was doing an indie show, like if I went back to the UK and was doing indie shows and someone said, we've booked New Jack, I'd be very scared of zombie.
He'd rob you for sure.
But I'd be like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, even just as an announcer on the ringside, he might just decide to switchblade me as a thing to get heat.
And it was so annoying. It was annoying they played music the whole time and all he did was hit people with weapons. That's not wrestling.
I mean, he's genuinely tried to kill people in the ring.
Really?
Yeah, he threw people from, like, there's the mass transit incident, the 16-year-old big fat guy that said, like, oh, I'm a wrestler, and they put him on an ECW show.
I've heard about this.
And he just started slicing him up, and he went to hospital because of...
and they tried, I heard a thing, but they tried to sue him and everything because of that.
There was another match, not in ECW, but there was another promotion that was trying to rival ECW, and they did a big match on a scaffold, and New Jack...
CCW, maybe? Was that what it was?
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe that was
and... I think it was a company, because they did a Dark Side of the Ring about it. It was a company that was mixing porn and wrestling. So they had like porn stars be the valets.
Okay.
But they
Sounds
had
like they're onto something.
But they had a scaffolding match.
Can't believe that didn't work.
And Nia Jax was meant to throw the guy off the scaffolding, but he literally tased him and then threw, aiming to miss the tables that the guy was going to land on.
But yeah, that
so
guy
the guy
should
was
never,
tased and thrown.
He should never have been allowed in pro wrestling.
No, and that is like, of all the things, like there are people where it's like, you know, they're horrible, horrible human beings that happen to be wrestlers, and if I take that side of them out of them, if I take the fact they're a racist, they're a sexist, they're a white, like, and you try and just be like, I just want to look at the wrestler, you have to say like, they're actually a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, I hate them, I don't want them to be wrestlers, but they're a good wrestler.
You might have that. You might have that feeling about my number one.
Right. Nia Jax should not be in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I didn't think of him because I don't really see him as a wrestler.
Right.
My number one might fit with what you just said. JBL.
Okay.
John Bradshaw Layfield. I hated him ever since he first came in. When he was like the cowboy and he would brand people. I find nothing... I absolutely hate that guy as... Like, I like his clothesline from hell. That's cool. But everything else about him, I absolutely fucking hate. He's another guy, just like Hardcore Khali, that talks like he's this big, tough guy. Like, you're a pro wrestler. If you're tough, go do boxing. When they did that brawl for brawl for all, he got dusted. He's a bum. So did Hardcore Khali. Those guys aren't tough. They just fucking think they're tough because they beat up some drunk dude in a bar.
I can understand that. He's also one of those people that I think goes too far in what a heel's supposed to do. That, like, doing things like the Nazi salute in Germany, beating up the Blue Meanie for real.
But that's funny. That was the only reason that I, like, was thinking JBL might be number 2 was because he beat up the Blue Meanie. That's, like, the one redeeming quality that I can say about JBL. But, like, besides that, he's such an asshole.
Yes.
And, like, what he did to Mauro Ranallo, he, like, bullied him. So he's an absolute piece of shit human. The reason Vince likes him is because he's rich, because he made all this money in the stock market, and Vince liked that.
Yeah, I understand, because, like I say, there's this idea of, like, a heel, like, because people will argue, like, a heel, just try and get heat and it's good. It's like, no, there's a difference, right? Like, we work in Korean wrestling. We do stuff here. And if someone tomorrow said, like, Charlie, we want you to do some heel work, there's a difference between going out and saying, like, Korea sucks, or your favorite wrestler sucks, or saying something about that, and going out and, like, doing like, slitty eye gestures, or switching, like, L&R, or making jokes about Japan, or all of these things. It's like, yeah, that will get heat. The crowd will hate me, because I'm a racist asshole that should not be allowed back in a ring.
Yeah, there's certain...
Like,
there's other ways to get heat.
Like, there are ways to piss off Germans, which don't involve Nazi saluting them.
Which is, like, it was illegal there, right? So he got in quite a bit of trouble for that.
Yeah, exactly. He should have gone to prison, like, because he's a famous
I wish he did, and then he wouldn't be wrestling. I'm glad he's gone now. What an ass. But from my list, I could say he's possibly the best wrestler. Like...
Yeah, I think probably... I
think he's only got... Well, I guess...
I mean, him, Miz, and Matt Hardy, I think would be your best wrestlers on your list.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'd rather... If you
had to watch a match you'd watch Matt Hardy fight The Miz over and over and over again.
I hate The Miz a lot. It's tough. Miz matches are really tough. I could probably see a JBL match that I might enjoy better, but I just hate him.
Right, yeah.
And I think he's a horrible person, and he can go fuck himself.
Fair enough. I think that's fair enough. So that's our
top 10 most hated wrestlers.
Absolutely. And that's what we think. Obviously, even though this list is completely objective, opinions are subjective. There could be someone we forgot. I mean, I think there's a couple of times where you seem to be like, yes, that's a good point. And again, I heard some of yours. I was like, yeah, if I had thought about that earlier, that could have been on my list.
There's probably people that I forgot, but my list is just, chock full of assholes that I hate. Yeah.
This is not a wrestling roster that I ever want to see, like, get together and put on a show. Ever.
No.
Ever. Anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed that, and we'll be back with you again in the future with another list or conversation on wrestling. So, as always, if you have anything to say, please do not hesitate to make a comment or to like the video. And also, if you're in Korea or you're interested in watching wrestling on YouTube, PWS, we have events in Pyeongtaek at the dojo once a month, and we have bar brawl events in Itaewon as well. The information will all be in the description for you to see. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.